I think actually I've already mentioned a better choice rather than using the method of the Chinese characteristics kind of method that you have to reject something and then wait for the government to change until the time that can satisfy your need. Is that to avoid your vote being manipulated, it is important that we have the right as well as duty to participate in the governance process. So it is not merely fighting for the right to vote just once every 4 or 5 years. It is fighting for the democratic right to participate in the governance process. And actually, I think that is also important for ethnic minorities. As I mentioned, that is important not only that you should have your voice be heard by the government, by those elected persons. You should have your voice be heard by every person in the society. How you could have your voice be heard by other people in the society? It is by your active participation in the process, telling the people in the process that what you want, what you think is important to your rights, and what might be also important to the interests of the whole society. Now, through this process, your voice will be heard, and you will be shaping the consensus of the whole society, even though you might be a minority. But in the consensus building process in deliberative democracy, every voice counts, because we want to reach a consensus that everyone will find the solution acceptable. So you must have your voice be heard. How? You must actively participate. So that might be a better way than just wait until your leaders change his mind, her mind, to take your view into consideration. That is, you have the right to shape the consensus as with the majority of the Hong Kong society.
I think democracy means that respect to the minority. Okay, and we in the democratic system, you build up a system, a regime to preserve the right for the minority. It doesn't, democracy doesn't mean winners take all. That's why we need rule of law and human rights concept. Actually, democracy is a very big set. Okay, inside there's small sets. Okay, human rights. So if you want to preserve human rights, how can you do it without democracy? That's what I try to emphasize. If a tiny bit of the population can rule the others, of course, the ethnic minority will have no place because they will be victimized. That's why I want to emphasize that we are not going to fight for a system that the minority take all. Instead of it, democracy means that we respect different values. We try to make a better distribution of wealth and resources for those people who are in the minority. It's not winners take all.
I like your idea of the McDonald's menu and A, B, C, D. The problem I have with it is, what if the item E that I personally think would be best for me is not even offered on the menu, right? How long do I wait before other options become available to me? So the concept you've mentioned is something that used to be tried and tested in the old days with the rule of despot kings, right? So kings were considered to be benevolent and inherently good, right? But we all know that absolute power corrupts absolutely. So if you have somebody who is designing these menu options for you, you have no guarantee that they're going to put people who are going to act in your interest on that menu. And that's where I think the problem comes in. The second thing about democracy, and I mean, I know that there are examples out there that show that democracies have failed certain groups of people. And I think India looms large as one of the biggest ones, especially as it's going through its current election process right now. But the key here, as I think both Benny and Longhair have mentioned, is democracy is about the responsibility of exercising your right properly. we have the power, but we also have duties. So that's why deliberation is important. It's not about just casting the vote because you have it. It's about thinking about your vote, thinking about people's policies, and then saying, I'm going to give my power to so-and-so. It's not about just blindly casting votes. And that's where I feel Hong Kong minorities at the moment we're just currency for different political parties. Because every vote counts, they come around to us, give us free passes to Ocean Park or Disneyland, and we take them, and then we vote for them. But then we have no idea what they are doing for us in LegCo, in the district councils, and I can tell you, if you look at the attendance record or the policies they vote for, none of them are to our benefit. They either abstain or vote no. If you look at the record, we would be appalled that these are the people we are giving our support to because we have the power. Yes, we are Hong Kong residents, we have the right to vote, but we have failed to exercise this vote responsibly. And I think that's why these discussions are so important. It's to make us think that if we have the power, then are we exercising it responsibly? Who should we be voting for? And what items do we want on that menu? We have to have a way of influencing those choices. At the moment, we don't. And that's why genuine universal suffrage is important. There is no good example of a perfect democracy, but there are examples of at least better functioning societies than Hong Kong at the moment. So we shouldn't opt for the default of the Chinese-style democracy just because it's the easiest one available to us. I think we deserve to push for more. And this is Hong Kong's moment to push for something else.
Yeah.
No more McDonald's meals. We want something else.
Time is so limited. And now we have a 10 minutes break, but don't leave yet. And then you will stay for us, and then have a good discussion, and we come back. And before going to the break, something announced. First, in your folder, there is information, is the background, the very basic information about Hong Kong democracy movement, what Hong Kong people have done, and then what's the program, okay? And this is prepared by our volunteer kit.